Into the ballgame is Paul McKeskey, who's become kind of a cult hero in Milwaukee, Tommy.
Fred Roberts hits McKeskey at the other end.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to a Monday night edition of We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with my great friend, Paul McKeskey, coming to you on a Monday evening. Hope all your teams won. My Tigers limped into the playoffs. We play tomorrow at 1 o'clock, first pitch. We got Tarek Scuba going, and that might be the only game we win.
That's a faith, man. Come on.
You don't have much faith, man. We had a 15.5 game lead and barely got in. But you know what? Hey, Mo, you're a great person to ask this question to. People here in Detroit were upset because the Tigers celebrated getting into the playoff. They said, oh, you had a 15-game lead and you blew the lead. But, Mo, this is a season-long accomplishment. Yeah, they struggled down the stretch, but they achieved their goal of getting in the playoff. Do you not celebrate that?
Well, it depends on how much you celebrate. I didn't know. Were they popping champagne and doing all that?
They didn't act like they won the World Series or anything, but they were happy.
So did they pop champagne?
I do not know.
So that's the difference, right? I mean, it's a 160 whatever game season. You've been battling, if you would have been down 15 games going into the thing and made it to the playoffs, you would have been celebrating and happy because it's the whole season. They're not playing great at the end of this thing, so that's a problem. You should celebrate, but there's limits to your celebration. My thought process was you don't drink champagne till after the championship. I mean, when I was with the Mavericks and we went to the NBA Finals against Miami, and we beat Phoenix in the West Finals in Phoenix, and we flew back to Dallas, to get ready for Miami. We weren't popping champagne and throwing it on each other. We were happy and we were celebrating, and the crowd met us at the airport and all that. But so there's levels of celebration. But sure, you should be happy and celebrate. But at the same time, it's Ricky, you're a golfer, right? So you play the first 15 holes and you're 5 under or 4 under, and then you double bogey the rest and you end up shooting 4 over. You're not as happy as if you would have done it the other way around and ended up with 4 birdies in the last 4 holes. Yeah, I got there.
Great. That's a great analogy. And I just got a text from one of my buddies. They had the grape juice fizzy stuff. It was not champagne. They had grape juice.
Don't put the goggles on and do all that stuff. I think the Dodgers or somebody did that. I thought I saw on TV. That's it's too early for that. I mean,
but more your teams went to the playoffs so much. I mean, okay, and this is what we're supposed to do.
When I played, we never made it to the finals. So I was just watching. Someone sent me clips or sent me the YouTube of 1989 against the Atlanta Hawks, Game 5 in Atlanta, where I scored 7 or 8 points in the third quarter, hit a 3, and we won on the road to go play the Pistons after that. And we were happy, and we celebrated. Actually, we're in the Atlanta airport having a couple beers, watching Michael Jordan shoot that shot in Elo's face. That's where I was when I saw that shot. And then we got home into Milwaukee, and there was a crowd at the airport. Linda and the boys were there, and then we celebrated at one of the fine drinking establishments in Milwaukee. But we weren't popping champagne and doing all that,
Right? Yeah, because it was more work to be done, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, people are mad at the Tigers. I get it. But, Mo, they're such a young team. They got in last night last year. They got in for the first time since, I believe, 2016. And they snuck back in this year. So, still a young team. Got a good manager, A.J. Hinch. and of course I'll be cheering for him. But I certainly get what you're saying. Yeah, you hadn't really won anything yet. I mean,
No, but and at the same time, I mean, maybe you were overachieving to get a 15 game lead. Maybe you were overachieving and great things were happening, and then you came back down to reality. And the problem is momentum is real. We've talked about this before. Momentum is real, and you want momentum and you want health. You want health going into your playoffs.
yeah.
So if they're healthy, that's one thing. But momentum, especially for a young team, it wears on you mentally, and you start thinking about,
And
man, we've been
that's
losing.
a great point because they lost a lot of guys throughout the course of the season.
Yeah.
But they were never as good as that team that was 15 games up.
No,
Not at all.
It all evens out. At 160 games, you're going to be the team you are. So eventually, at the end, barring major injuries and all that, you're going to be the team. Maybe you lost 13 in a row and then you won 15. That's just the nature of a long season.
They actually did lose 13 in a row. That's how this mess all started.
Yeah, I mean, it happens in the NBA all the time. A team comes out, maybe they don't have their main player or something to start the season, and they're just at the bottom, and then they get healthy, and then they start playing better, and then they make a run into the playoffs. That's just the nature of the game.
The great Milwaukee teams, just off the top of your head, I can't envision y'all losing 5 straight games during that run you had.
Oh, during the season?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, maybe 3, maybe 4 on a long road trip, but I don't think 5. But your goal in a long season, your goal is to win twice as many games as you lose. So if you lose 1, you need to win 2. If you lose 2, you need to win 4. That's how you make it to a 60-win season in the NBA. So you want at least 2 wins to every loss.
So what are you trying to do? You play 41 games on the road. You want to split those?
I don't care. Road or home, it doesn't matter to me. You just, you want to win the game.
That's what I'm saying about good teams. Y'all don't give a damn where you play because y'all are good.
No, you want to win the game. I mean, are you going to go into Chicago and Michael Jordan and the refs? Probably, yeah. So do you expect to win? Do you write that down at as coaches? I did this a lot, maybe for myself, but I know other coaches do. You take the schedule when it comes out and you write out W's and losses all through the season and your record in November and December and January, and then you come with what you think, how many wins you're going to have and losses at the end of an 82-game season. And it's interesting that most coaches that are realistic, we're playing the back-to-back on the road in Chicago or something. We probably won't win that game, but we might. We expect to. But in the long run, if you look back on that after the season, you probably got a lot of those wins and losses wrong. Along the way, you won games you think you weren't going to win, and you lost games you shouldn't have lost, and it's really frustrating. But at the end, you have almost to a game or two what your record really ends up being, unless there's a major injury.
And welcome to our viewers out there checking us out here on We Got Next. And you heard Mo say when he going to play Michael and the referees in Chicago, that did not sneak by me, Mo. that Michael was going to get a whistle at home.
That's the way it was. You think Dr. J didn't get whistles in Philly, or Magic didn't get, or Kareem didn't get whistles in LA, and Sidney Moncrief and Jack Sikma didn't get whistles in Milwaukee? That's just the way it was, But really, they kind of even out,
Yeah.
You hope.
Good stuff, man. Hey, please send us your questions and comments.
Yes, we are the tailgate to Monday Night Football.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little football before we get out of here. But Mo, I want to show you this. Let me see if I can get this from last night. The WNBA playoffs here. In Minnesota, Coach Cheryl Reeves goes off late in the game against Phoenix. The Lynx are about to be eliminated. Here's what happened.
That was 3 nights ago.
Oh, three nights ago. Yeah.
Yeah. They lost last night, and she didn't coach. She was suspended.
Okay.
Are we getting up there? We can't see it, Ricky. I don't know.
Can't see it. Let's see. Okay. You couldn't see it, Mo?
No.
Let me try one more time.
Okay.
Let's see.
When you got
See
two old
anything?
guys like us doing the technical stuff, we're in
Good.
trouble.
Do you see it now?
No. Oh, yep. There we go. Can you make it full screen?
Yep.
Cheryl Reeve and the rest of her
Can you rewind it?
streaking onto the floor. Picks her pocket. Collier gets it back, but Alyssa Thomas picks her pocket. AT streaks in. And he still on the floor. Cheryl Reeve and the rest of her staff streaking onto the floor. And Cheryl Reeve has been ejected from the game.
Been there before.
Mo, have you ever wanted to go in? You coach, you've been in those heated moments. Have you ever wanted to do that?
Absolutely. I might have done it. I don't know, in the G League or in Canada. I mean, I remember a game up in the Canadian Pro League. I was coaching on the road and really East Canada and freezing cold. And, you know, I knew it was a tough game and we were kind of getting messed around by the refs and, you know, and we ended up losing by 3 or 4 or something. And, you know, I let them know that, you know, I wasn't very happy. But then when I got to the hallway by our locker room and I looked at the stat sheet, their team had shot 45 free throws and we had shot 11. I'm like, what? How are we supposed to win a game like that? You know, so, you know, it's frustration. And that situation there was game 4. And, you know, they're at home and the other team, Phoenix had made a run on them. And then they got their best player the ball at the top of the key. And she caught it and drove. And one of the Phoenix players reached in and stole it cleanly. But at the end of that play, she clipped the other player's knee. And the other player went down and actually hurt her ankle to where she couldn't play in game 5. So,
But let me stop you there, Mo. Is that action her? She made the clean steal, but is tripping her to foul? Or is that after the action?
yeah, I think that league said, and I guess it's the rule because it's the same as if I take a shot and I release the ball and you hit my wrist a little bit, non-effective thing. That's not a foul after the shot is gone because the ball's gone. So they said once she tipped the ball, it was a free ball out there, and that's when she clipped her knee, and so that was incidental contact. Now, I would argue that wasn't incidental contact. She kind of clipped her and took her out, but that's what their ruling was. But I think that's a buildup. A lot of the coaches in the WNBA have had issues with the refereeing. I've watched quite a few of the playoff games, and kind of throws me back to the '80s when I played against the Pistons. But the thing is, the girls are landing on the floor all the time. They're kind of out of control. In my opinion, the refs let it get too physical. They don't reel it in till it's too late, and then bad things happen. And they have to take control of the game. As a referee, you might not make all the right calls. Obviously, you're human, but you need to keep control of the game with the players and the crowd and the coaches. You need to have control of the game and make sure you watch that and the tempers and make sure it doesn't get out of hand. In my opinion, when I'm watching WNBA games, all these games are getting out of hand because of physical play, and it's easy. Just start calling fouls. If you call fouls, players will adjust.
Reeve did not stop Mo after the game. She called the refs effing awful and called for a change at the leadership level when it comes to officiating.
Yeah, and that's where she got suspended, I think. And she didn't coach in Game 5 last night, and Phoenix won that game, and her team lost. But also their best player on that play was injured and couldn't play last night. So, I mean, it's kind of a catch-22, but, the coach here, Becky Hammonds of the Aces, a really great coach, and other coaches have been on this for a couple of years now of how the physical play is being let go in the WNBA, and it's out of hand. And, it's, she was really critical of the refs they had reffing the Game 4 of a semifinal playoff series. And, you want your best refs reffing. That's just the fact. And, it's something that the WNBA has to deal with and clean up. It's the fact. And, what you want as a coach and players is you want referees to have control of the game. You want to be able to play physical, but not out of hand physical. And you want to catch the first person doing something, not the second or third. And you want consistency. So what's a foul at that end is a foul at this end. And that's very hard to do because there's 3 refs out there now and they rotate. So you might have a certain ref underneath the basket at this end in front of your bench, and they're letting more physical play go. And then when you go down to the other end, the ref underneath that basket is calling more tic-tac fouls. So obviously that team's shooting more free throws. I think last 2 nights ago, the Aces lost in Indiana to the Fever without Caitlin Clark. And, they messed up and didn't finish the deal in the game. But at the press conference, looking at the stat sheet, Becky Hammonds and Asia Wilson, who is the MVP, just kind of looked at the score book and the score sheet and kind of snickered. And you wonder why are you snickering? Because Indiana shot 38 free throws and Las Vegas shot 11. Yeah. And even if you're a 3-point shooting team or some, which the Aces aren't, they go to the basket as much as anybody. The discrepancy in free throws shouldn't be that much. I don't believe.
Hey, Mo, is this correctable?
Sure. I mean, I talked to a referee friend of mine, and I asked him because I didn't know. I said, where does the WNBA get their refs? Where do they get their refs? And they texted me back that a lot of them are G League refs that weren't the NBA did not have them on the list of moving up to the NBA anytime in the near future. So they gave up on the G League and now they're coaching in the WNBA. Well, that tells you something right there, right? If they're not an NBA prospect in the G League and you're going to send them and coach and ref in the WNBA, that's not your best refs, I don't think. And then another group are college women's refs, which is a totally different game than the WNBA. So you have those 2 things working against you. It's you can salvage it, but you have to start from the bottom. And You either got to pay the refs more so you get better refs applying, or you got to hold the refs accountable. Just like, I always thought, if I get a technical foul as a player or a coach in a game, I get fined, right? Why doesn't a ref who misses an obvious call, especially in the fourth quarter, get fined? They should be fined. And the answer is, well, they're not allowed to ref in playoff games, where you make more money. Referees in the NBA, the farther you ref in the playoffs, you're making more money every game. And you get to the NBA Finals, you're making almost your same salary ref in a 7-game series. So that's the reward. But as a coach, that doesn't help me because I have bad calls during the year. It doesn't help me. I lost,
You can lose your job behind some stuff.
yeah, I lost games because the refs weren't good, and I lost my job. So, great, So, but I think it's fixable. But you got to start from scratch. You got to really review what's going on. You got to hold those refs accountable. You got to get them together, and you got to show them. Listen, this might, this is a ticky-tack foul, but at this point in the game, when the game's getting out of control, you got to call it because that stops all the players from doing it. Players adjust to the referees. They do. If you call a lot of fouls, they're not going to foul as much. They're going to back off a little bit. If you let teams play physical, they're going to play more physical. If you let teams play physical and get out of control, that's what players are going to do. They're going to take it right up to the line, and then if you let them, they're going to go over the line because you just let them. So, it's going to be interesting what happens here in Las Vegas when Indiana comes here to play the Aces in Game 5. To see who's going to face the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA Finals, but it's a big deal, and I'm interested because Coach Nate Tibbetts is the coach of the Phoenix Mercury. He's an old G League coach, D League coach. I coached against him in the D League, but he's been an assistant in Portland and Orlando and Cleveland. He's a really, really good coach and doing a great job, and Phoenix upset the champions from last year. No, but the best team all year. Minnesota was the best team all year in the WNBA, and they took it to them. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, Paul, one more thing about officiating, because we've talked about officiating in the at the NBA level now, and a lot of people say, well, these guys are so much more athletic now than when you guys play. I don't really believe all that because I saw Dominic Wilkins, I saw Dr. J. I ain't going for all that.
Come on.
And when you play, it was a lot more physical, but guys had a way of moderating the physicality so it was spread across the course of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's consistency. And guess what? Great players got calls. Wow. Yeah, they did. If there's an if call between me and Michael Jordan, he's getting the call. And guess what? I know he is. That's just part of it. Doesn't upset me. That's the way it goes. Now, if me and John Konkak are going after the ball, I should just get the same call. So, but that's just the way it was. And I think
much love to John Konkak.
Yeah. But I mean, I think like back then, the referees were around for longer, and they only had 2 refs. Frankly, I think it was better ref because when you get 3 refs, there's guys crossing over, making calls they shouldn't make. The half-court guys making a call into the basket. They're stepping on each other's toes. But then when I played, the referees talked to us as players. Hey, that's enough. Or they even said, hey, I messed up that call, and, that's just the way it is. And there was more communication then. About 10 or 15 years ago, somehow the NBA and the referees got to the head of the referees or whoever it was, said, we don't want any conversations anymore. You want to just not have conversations and just be professional and all that. Well, that doesn't work. And now they've overcompensated for that. When I watch an NBA game, there's conversations after every call between 5 players talking to all 3 refs after every call. At some point, if you're a ref, you need to say, hey, that's enough. Stop talking and let's move on. But there's a give and take there.
Yeah. Who's the best ref during your playing time? It's probably more
Yes,
than one.
yeah,
Just
Dick Pavetta, Jess Kersey, Johnny Crawford, guys like that. Some of the legends of refereeing.
is it any ref out there today that you like?
I don't know any ref's name out there anymore. So to me, it looks like they're all really young. They're all in better shape. They look like they're in the weight room. I remember coaching in the G League with all these refs that are pretty buffed up, and crowds getting on them. Hey, get out of the weight room and get in the video room and watch your call.
Right.
But I don't really know any. I know a handful, and unfortunately, the guys that I kind of pick out are the guys that kind of tend to screw up the game. I'm not going to name names, but if you look it up, you can find out that there's always a couple guys that are really messing up the flow of the game. The one thing the referees, just like in boxing, you covered boxing. The perfect referee in boxing is the guy you never notice. He separates them, keeps the match and even, and separates them, and no holding and all that stuff, but you don't notice them. It's the same. If you see a ref blowing his whistle and being on camera all the time, that's not a good thing.
Hey, David is checking in. David, welcome to the show. I think you're a new visitor. David says the WNBA has a bright future in America's sports market. Hopefully the players, coaches, and front office don't blow this great opportunity. And we've kind of talked about that, Mo, as they try to negotiate this new salary. And David, thank you so much for tuning in, man. We got a great group here. We're here every Monday doing the NFL season, and then we change over after football to 8:00 every Monday. Tell a friend. Paul Mokeski, 12-year veteran of the NBA. You probably already know who this dude is. One of the most knowledgeable men in the game, and I get to hang out with him.
Yeah, David, I think there's a couple things, and to your comment, they need to, and what I tell people all the time, you need to have patience and poise when you're negotiating these contracts, because I agree the WNBA is a good product. It's got good market. They're on the upswing right now, and you don't want to do anything to derail that. And unfortunately, I think the Players Association are derailing themselves in the WNBA by wearing T-shirts that say, "Pay me what you owe us." That's not what they should say. They should say, "Pay us what we're worth," and that makes more sense. Bad marketing. And you're not. They got better travel, better hotels over the last couple of years. Now the owners are offering you a minimum of 250 grand and a maximum of $1 million, which isn't NBA money. But guess you don't play an NBA season. You play 40 games, 3 months, and that you are where we were in the NBA when it was our 29th and 30th year. That back when I played, and that's where the salaries back then. And you just have to have patience with that. Take that and let it grow. And don't go backwards and threaten to strike. That's the wrong thing, because you are on the upswing, like David said, and you want to keep on that. You don't want to, when I came in with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and the NBA was teetering on folding. All the playoffs were tape delayed; they weren't live, and Magic and Larry kind of saved it and saved the whole, persona of the NBA, and then it went up from there, and MJ took it on, and then all the others. But you don't want to derail what you have going, and unfortunately, I think they're getting bad advice. And the other thing is what we just talked about. You gotta fix the referee situation. You gotta upgrade that, because that's your product. That's what the Aces will play. I don't know if they play in T-Mobile tomorrow with 15,000 or whatever. It'll be full. So that's your product on the floor. The referees need to be up quality, up to that product. And I think those two things, and there's the sky's the limit for the WNBA. But you're only one slip up away from, not coming back, because guess what? And the WNBA has never, ever, ever in 29 years made money. They've always lost money from $20 to $40 million a year. So you got to take that in, in consideration to, okay, we're going to grow in baby steps.
Yeah. Let me see here. My concern is, I think a strike would be devastating because people would forget about them because there's so much on. Even right now, they got the WNBA finals in the height of baseball playoffs, NFL, college football. That's tight, man. That's tight to be in there. You stop playing, people are like, oh yeah, they used to have the WNBA. It doesn't take much, Mo. You know that.
No, you could fold up real fast, and what'll happen is somebody else will start some other league, and it's going to have, guess where it's going to start? From ground zero. And then you're going to have to build up for 29 more years to get where you're at now. So, if I was advising, the Players Association, I would say, let's get this going. Let's sign the next thing. You got a better TV deal. You got better attendance. You got more interest. Women are minimum of 250 grand for 3 months of work. You don't have to go overseas then. You can stay in the States with your family, and you can go overseas and make money if you want, or you can start camps in whatever city you're in and make more money. And even the better players are going to make $1 million for 3 months of work. That's a good thing. Take it as a good thing, not a negative, because you're not making 40 million like the NBA players. The NBA is 80 years old or whatever it is. You're 29 years old.
Not a bad gig, brother. Hey Mo, let's any fun. Who do you like tomorrow in the semifinals with Las Vegas and Indy
Well, I think Indy's
in the semifinals?
They don't have Caitlin Clark. They also lost 3 of their main players throughout the year, and they've done a great job getting where they're at. And they've given the Aces all they can handle. But in the long run, Las Vegas Aces, Asia Wilson, the MVP, here in Las Vegas, a sold-out crowd is going to be loud. And, usually your role players play better at home in the playoffs. And I think the Aces are going to get past this battle with Indiana, and then it's going to be an interesting series against Phoenix Mercury in the finals. And but I think Aces win tomorrow night here at home.
Another thing I always hear people say, role players play better at home. I hear that in the NBA. Why is that, Mo? Is that a truthism?
Yeah, I think for the most part it is. I mean, you're in your home environment. You have all the fans pulling for you. If you're a role player like I was in the NBA, and you go into Boston Garden, Madison Square Garden, Philadelphia, you're going to hear it from the fans. And, if you get down on yourself a little bit, it's going to pile on, and you got a problem. So, yeah, I think fans lift up their role players at home, especially in basketball, and they tend to play better.
But the beautiful thing about your game, Mo, you didn't care where you were. You go do your thing, man.
I was reading something. Someone sent me a media guide or something from the Bucks, and it had my highlights as a Buck, making 2 free throws with no time left in the Boston Garden to win the game, and then making 2 free throws to put a playoff game against Boston in overtime in Milwaukee.
And the great picture, I'm going to find that picture for next week, is Maurice Lucas, not Maurice Lucas, John Lucas. You wouldn't want Maurice Lucas to jump up on you.
I had little battles with Maurice Lucas. I don't want him jumping in my arms. John Lucas I can catch.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful sight. I just love that picture. That's the essence of sports. And it just shows the great team, the team, the family that you guys had on those Bucks teams. So I'll look that one up for next week. Hey, Mo. No, go ahead. You want to answer that?
It's in my garage somewhere. You saw it.
Yeah, I've seen it. And Mo, everything's online somewhere nowadays too. So, including you taking that charge from Dr. J. So I need to get that one too.
That wasn't called.
It wasn't called, right. So what you just got back up and ran down court, right?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Next. Good try.
Hey, Mo, let's get to the NBA training camps here, and man, we got some good-looking dudes in here, all slim and trim. Can you see this picture?
No. Mm-mm.
Let's see.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that picture of Zion. That's Zion, right?
Yes,
That's not what he looks like. That's
that
not.
doesn't look real, does it?
That's not real. I saw footage of him at media day today or yesterday, and he's a lot thinner, but he's not that. He looks like Bol Bol. That's not Bol Bol. That's not what he looks like.
I
But
agree.
but he's a lot thinner. That is what Luka looks like, and they're both pretty young players, and they finally maybe realize that if I lose weight and get in great shape, I can survive the season better and my career lasts longer. So, but that's not Zion's picture.
I'm with you. I'm taking it down now.
Yeah, but I mean, my question with Luka would be, if I was a Dallas fan, why weren't you in that kind of shape, when you were at Dallas?
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about that. Uh, do you think Zion will be a more effective player? Will he be able to power? I guess we have to wait and see, right?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to look. I had a real picture of him, but I can't
I'm
find
looking
it.
again now too, Paul.
Yeah, but I think like Zion is about 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" maybe, but he's carrying a lot of weight, even though it's muscle, that's heavy. So, it's great that he can fly through the air and jump, but guess what? Eventually you got to come down and land. And that's
Right.
where your body takes a punishment when you're landing with that kind of weight all the time. Your ankles, your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your back. That's what takes all the brunt of that. So, if you're lighter, he's still strong and powerful. He's not like Bol Bol like that other picture. So he still has that explosiveness, even more so. And it's going to help him. The same with Luka, that has suffered some injuries, nagging injuries throughout his career. And Luka's a guy that plays year round because he plays for Serbia, or I think Serbia, and his team. All the time, his national team in the summer, so he takes a pounding. So, he, Luka, though, his advantage in the post is his big body, so that might hurt him a little bit. But Zion is getting that weight off is going to help him, and hopefully save him from injuries here this season. He could play a whole year.
Let's see. What about this one, Mo? Let's see. This looks. Zion.
Because I bet Zion was probably 280, 290.
Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit.
Yeah. And now he's probably lost 20, 25 pounds. So yeah.
That's a more accurate picture, don't you think?
Yeah, but that's not even as accurate as I saw in video on TV today on ESPN. He's still really strong but yeah, he's lost 20 pounds easy, maybe 25, and that's going to help him.
Well, the Pelicans are going to need help, man, because that West Mo is, woo. I mean, but Paul, as we look forward to the year, I think every conference is exciting and interesting with all the stuff that happened in Boston. Al Horford is gone from Boston. He signed with Golden State. I want to get your thoughts on that. But a very intriguing year in the NBA coming up.
Yeah, I mean, teams have moved around. OKC is, for sure that they're the defending champion, and they haven't made big moves, but they were young. They're still young, and they're filling in. I'm really excited to see Denver now. Denver had made some moves, and they're deeper now. If you go online, there's a media day, and the Joker is standing next to Valanciunas. And Joker looks kind of small next to Valanciunas, and together they look very formidable. And that gives the Joker an actual backup. Cam Johnson's going to help them. They got Bruce Brown back.
Right.
Denver has a deeper team, and they pushed OKC or I can't remember who last year in the playoffs, and they weren't deep. They're 2 or 3 players deeper now. So, and the Lakers, I like what they've got, and they picked up Ayton, so they have a legitimate center, a young center, rim runner, rim protector, dunker that Luka can pass to. Dallas, man, I just saw footage on something of Kyrie taking shots, like moving and limping. Their thing is don't rush him back, but rather than being back in March, he might be back in December or January. And and they got D'Angelo Russell as an insurance for him to play during the early season. But once Kyrie gets back, with even with D'Angelo Russell and Klay Thompson and Cooper Flagg and AD, who's going to wear goggles now to protect his eyes, Gafford, Lively, Washington, Christie, who I like, came over on that trade from the Lakers. They got a great team. Houston, Van Fleet, their point guard, got hurt. So I think we're going to see Amen Thompson, a great young talent there, 6'7", 6'8". He's going to run a lot of the point, and they're going to have patience with that. But they're going to be tough to beat. And then you got Minnesota, who's tough. Phoenix, even though they traded KD, they got Booker and Brooks and some other guys. They're going to be tough. And the Clippers, depending on the Kawhi situation, which is kind of funky, but you look at the Clippers lineup for the last couple of years. We've talked about it though, Ricky. We got Harden, Beal, and Kawhi, and Zubac, and now you got Brook Lopez, you got Chris Paul, you got Dunn. You got guys that can win for you.
Phoenix has Jalen Green now. Came over from Houston.
Yeah. So
Dylan
and they got Malawak, who was a big fella from KU. He's a rim runner, a nice young 7-foot player that's going to help fit in there. And then, we talked about it, Golden State got Horford. So, I guess they're dependent on a 40-year-old center to be their center.
And I just saw that Wimbiana grew an inch over the offseason. Is it any space for San Antonio to get in the playoff chase?
Yeah, I think when you look at San Antonio, I think they have 2 or 3 of the last rookies of the year. They got Vasno, Wembe, and one more, I think, and they picked up Fox, and then they drafted Harper in the first round, a young point guard that's really good. So I think they can do some damage. I think they might be in a play-in situation, but they got a group that they can build on now. And I think they're still a couple of years away and a couple of moves away, but they're on the upswing for sure.
They had Wimbiana. He was rookie of the year last year.
Vassell, I think.
Cassell from UConn. When the Castle from UConn. Cassell.
Yeah, he was 2 years ago, and then Vassell, Vassell.
Yeah.
He was 3 years ago.
Yeah, Vassell, Devin.
Yeah,
out of Florida.
Yeah, so they're kind of looking like OKC looked a few years ago, right? Without the draft picks.
Yeah. But it's hard over there, man. It's
it's going
hard.
to be a battle. I mean, and you're going to have to stay healthy, but any of those teams, OKC, Denver, Lakers, Dallas, Houston, Clippers, Minnesota, maybe Golden State can all win it in the West.
But per your rule, Mo, tell me who's healthy.
The best
So,
of
so there are two big tank things. See what moves are made around the trading deadline, right? And then tell me who's healthy going into the playoffs.
the best ability is availability. You can be the best player in the world. If you're not on the court, it doesn't help me because you're hurt.
Yeah.
And we all know what that does in the NBA.
Giannis said this version of the Bucks seems to be committed to winning the title. So all you Milwaukee Bucks fans out there, so rest easy.
Yeah, I mean, they picked up
He
Turner.
says he thinks his team would be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and the East is not as strong because of injuries in Boston and potential injuries in Philly. So, there's an opening there. But he's not even with the team right now because he's still back in Greece. He has COVID.
Right.
So, but, they can be surprising. I think your Detroit Pistons are right there too. I still think, like you think, they need a big body, a legitimate big.
When you were talking about Valanciunas, I'm like, he'd be perfect here.
Yep, too late. Denver got him. And another up and coming team that was kind of my dark horse last year, or they are now for sure this year, is Orlando.
Yeah.
I mean, Orlando picked up a big time scorer in Bane to go with Suggs and Banchero and Wagner. So they're a great young team too in the East.
Where's Lopez? Is he still in Milwaukee?
No, he's in Clippers. He signed with the Clippers.
Man, we could have used him.
They probably trade him to you.
Hey, Mo, how can a guy like Horford, who I think Horford is 40 this year, how does he still not only in the league but is somewhat coveted?
Because he's effective. He's efficient. He's smart. He can rebound. He can block some shots here and there. He's good passer, knows when to pass. Good shooter, knocks down threes, and does everything to help a team win. That's why. I mean, if you're that, and he's got good size, so yeah.
And he probably causes no issues in the locker room whatsoever.
No,
Probably a steadying force in the locker room.
He's a great teammate, and that's what you want, right? I mean, you want a guy that's effective, efficient, and a great teammate. Thank you. Can I have him, please?
Yeah. And Paul, so many guys, and we've talked about this before, in every sport, these are highly productive players, the high maintenance players. Man, as soon as that productivity drops off, people are like, hey, you gone. We'll put up with this while you're producing, but we don't need these headaches. So I look at someone like Cam Newton, whose career ended way too early. I mean, maybe he did not want to be a backup quarterback. So,
Yep.
But if he wanted to, Paul, he could have played. He could be playing right now.
But if you're a backup quarterback, you better be a great teammate. You better not cause problems on the sideline or the locker room. You better be ready whenever you're called on, or you're no use to me. If you're a problem in the sidelines in the locker room, you can't produce like you used to. I don't need you. I'll find somebody else. It's a business.
And especially with social media. Dude, you're not even playing that. I hear more about you on social media than you do in the team meeting room.
I think it was Chauncey Billups or somebody. They were talking on some show, and they said, yeah, we were losing by 18, and I come out after halftime, and I find out one of my players is tweeting, he scored 10 points or something. At halftime, we're down by 18. So, that's the guy you don't want. I don't want you on my team.
Yeah, Chauncey is not the guy to do that. I guarantee you, he went off on him. Hey, well, we got Horford in Golden State. Does that help maybe the signing of Kuminga? Do those two go together?
Yeah, I just think they're filling the spot. I mean, if I was Golden State, I wouldn't have signed Horford until later, and I would trade Kuminga for a legitimate big. Whoever, you could get. Kuminga's a great young talent, but guess what? You got Butler, you got Curry, you got Draymond Green. They're all old. So what do you need a young talent for? I mean, if you're going to try to win now, you better win now. So, and if you're not that happy with Kuminga anyway, go get a legitimate big, someone like Zubac or someone like that. Some team that's, not going to make the playoffs, but has a legitimate big guy. Go do that. I mean, I like Horford. I think it's a good signing. He's a decent size. He shoots threes. He's smart. He fits in with that mentality. But, Kuminga's a different story. I mean, he has nothing to do with Horford. I mean, I guess the one thing that, Kuminga, you're not going to have to play center at all. So that might help. But, I think, the Kuminga situation is, he's a great talent, really physical, very gifted, has a huge upside. But, when I watch him play, he makes as many mistakes as he does great plays. And that's a problem if you're trying to win a championship. It's not much of a problem if you're building a team. And I don't know how much he's willing to listen or if the coaching staff isn't talking to him the right way.
Yeah.
To me, you would be able to get through to him that, hey, guess what? Look at the locker room. All these guys are old. Guess who's going to take over in a year or two? You're going to be the man. Why don't you do stuff now that's going to help that process?
But the way that team is put together, they're not beating Denver for sure. If they get messed up, they just don't have the size to beat Denver. And I could probably name a couple other teams over there.
Well, the Lakers now.
Yeah, the Lakers with Ayton. So that's a problem with them.
Or Dallas has 4 7-foot guys. I mean,
and they run the court and they know their job. Dallas is a dangerous team. It'll be interesting to see when Kyrie gets back and how they incorporate Cooper Flag into the system.
Yeah, and then when Kyrie comes back, how is D'Angelo Russell going to react when he's not starting anymore?
Yeah. And well, we got to get out of here. I am proud to announce my first book.
Yay!
I don't know if you guys can see this. I have a reading coming up in Nashville, Tennessee for my book, Cumberland Rising, The Extraordinary Story of Ted Rose Golf Course, Black Golf's Mecca. My father was a golf pro for 43 years in Nashville and grew up as a caddy and played with all the legendary black golfers of the day, and they all came through Nashville. Charlie Sifford and Ted Rose.
Lee Elder?
Yeah, absolutely. Lee Elder. I used to putt Lee Elder for nickels and dimes.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Wow.
Thankfully, he never took the money from me. I beat him a couple of times, though.
There you go.
And no, go ahead, Mo.
That's a great story of golf and sports, but also life. It's about life, and that's the crossover you have.
And Mo, I know how much you love basketball. That's how much I love golf. It paid for my father. It gave my father a job, and my mother worked in the pro shop, paid for my college education, helped me in my sports writing career. I just love this game so much, and I've been meaning to write this book for 30 years. The bad part, I let my dad pass away, and some of the other books.
He's watching you. When you do that reading, he's going to be watching you. You know that.
Yeah. And so, hey, you'll get more information on that as it comes along. The book is actually not coming out until January, but we're starting our little publicity stuff now. So
Sign autograph picture. Sign autograph book.
Well, I'm gonna
Sign me
hand it
up.
to you because we got to get back out there and do a live show together.
Yep. You can play golf here in Vegas in January if you want.
I'm bringing my clubs next time I come, Mo.
There you go.
Now you got something cooking. I don't know if you're ready to share yet.
Yeah, I mean, my wife Linda and I have been working on a screenplay for over a year now. It's called Broken Promises, and it's kind of like it's a basketball story, kind of like Blue Chips, but it also has an Ocean's 11 kind of twist in there that you'll see. You haven't been there, Ricky. Ricky's reading it right now, and he's going to get there. But it's kind of and it shows some of the background of what really goes on, maybe on an NBA team playing, or in the locker room, or in the room where the general managers and head coaches are trying to make cuts. I've been in those rooms, and I share it in this screenplay, and it's done in a way I think will keep you riveted till the end. It's part of my life that we've seen, and we love movies. Linda and I love movies, and quite frankly, we don't think there's enough good ones out there. And hopefully, we have a couple table reads coming up with some actors, and hopefully we'll get some financing. Anybody knows anybody out there that wants to get involved in a really good screenplay in a movie, let me know.
Well, actually, I'm kind of jealous of Mo, everybody, because I'm supposed to be the professional writer, and he's giving me a sneak peek. And he's written this damn thing better than me, so I'm a little jealous, but I'm very proud. Mo, truly, it is a riveting story. And the thing about it, my years of being a sports writer, being around it, I've seen stuff kind of like that. And you lived that life. You were in it. I covered it. It is just brilliant, man. And I can't wait to finish it up.
Yeah, well, Linda and I wrote it, and we take your comments.
Well, Linda is the secret behind it now.
Yeah, she does a lot of the type, all the big. I'm good on dialogue, though. I know how coach speaks. I know how players speak. I know how general managers speak. So, and we also have our two sons in law enforcement, so they help us with when the crap hits the fan.
Don't give away too much, Mom. But I love how authentic it is, and I'm cheering this guy on. I'm not giving his name away. I'm cheering for him. He's giving me a headache, though.
He's kind of like one of your kids or something. They're doing great, and then they do something silly, and
knucklehead. Hey, but Mo, we got to get out of here. No show next week. I'll be traveling back from the book reading, but maybe we'll
travel safe.
Maybe we'll get a little later that week or the next Monday. But for my great friend Paul Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody. See you soon.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.